live. Oh, wait, hold on. They're saying you can't be heard for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why it should be working. I know. Well, you'll be on the same output. I don't know why. I'm sorry. Welcome to the Dicebreaker podcast. I will relay the information that Matt has just said. It's sorry. I have some sound issues sometimes, and it's a lot of fun when that happens, especially when it happens at work. Do you want to try saying something now? Yes. That should be working hopefully now. Yes. We should just go from the top if it works and just pretend that didn't happen. No, it's still no? Ah! I don't know why. My audio mixer is showing that there is audio coming from you, so I don't know why it's not going out. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Do. Oh yeah, they can't hear that. What Meehan just said was we should have one of those screens. Ah, I know why it's not working. Okay, hold on. There we go. Now! No? Wait, no, that's not gonna work. I don't know how to fix it. I really don't. I know how to fix it. I'm gonna fix it in 3, 2, 1, and we're gonna start from the top like this never happened, okay?
Is it definitely working this time?
Yes. We're live now. Now they can hear you, for sure.
Now.
Let's go from the top. This never happened.
Live from a studio audience. Filmed in front of a studio audience.
This is what you get if you listen live. You know, you get all these fantastic bits when you tune in at 2 p.m.
Don't reference it. Start from scratch, because I'm going to edit all this out for the podcast.
Okay, you want me to go fresh? Folks in the chat, you're getting the extra uncut. This is the uncut. This is the Lolies cut of the podcast because it's got all the filler that they'd normally take out. All right, we're going fresh.
Okay, filmed live in front of a studio audience. It's Matt Jarvis.
Hello and welcome to the Dicebreaker podcast. We were doing that because of the advert, but I still like that it's now just become a thing.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, welcome. It's the podcast. We're back again for another week. I'm Matt Jarvis.
We've survived another week.
But we've done it, folks. Congrats. Yeah. Honestly, every week is a gift, given the last few years. But we are here. I am here rather with the two members of the Dicebreaker team known as Alex. But you know them better as Lolies. Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. I'm so glad that this podcast is tech issue free.
I can't believe it. Yeah.
I know. It's been 70 weeks and we've not had a single tech issue.
Never a single tech issue.
What are the chances? I don't know.
Well, this is just like gaslighting gaslighting the podcast now. Just like, that never happened. We weren't muted for the first 5 minutes of this. Anyway, Alex Meehan also joining us. Hello, how are you?
Heyo, answering Lolies is cool. As a fellow Alex, yeah. That's what we do. We just walk around the streets and just go heyo. Yeah, I'm also really glad that we've never had a single technical difficulty ever.
Not a one.
#blessed.
Great stuff. That's welcome to the Blessed podcast. We're here as always to chat about. I mean, we say chat about board games. We'll chat about a load of other stuff first, but we'll eventually get onto the topic of board games and tabletop RPGs via other topics.
Last week was especially the definition of a tabletop gaming podcast was very loosely interpreted.
There was something in the air, and that something was discussion of Mumbo Number 5 and Bob the Builder.
That discussion was nice.
It was a very nice podcast, but you know what they say about 70? It's one more than nice.
I thought you were going to say, you know what they say about 70? It's the new 30 or something.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You know, like age. Sort of.
Oh, you know, yeah. I've heard of it.
You know age.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm very consciously aware of age, unfortunately.
Why?
Well, I mean, I heard that you didn't... I think you were just so distracted by the nice number last week that you didn't even do the bingo call.
Well, you know, we like to save it for you, Lolies. All right,
think the bingo
are you
call
going to hit us
should
with a double
be...
whammy?
Yeah, I think the bingo call should be nice because, you know, it's the truth. But the actual bingo call for 69 is anyway up.
I mean,
which is also nice.
It kind of applies. Yeah, no, that's pretty nice.
That's an innuendo right there. Yeah, because this call explains how the number 69 looks the same way upside down. As does the other. Anyway, and number 70, which is this week's episode, is 70, because Bingo loves maths. So,
all right,
I'm very
great.
confused.
Yeah, no, that's just.
I wonder if that's just because of my lack of maths knowledge.
Well, score is 20, so score is 3 times 20, and then like plus 10.
Yeah, the Gettysburg Address, right, or the Lincoln speech.
Never mind.
All right,
I didn't know
that was one for our American audience.
I didn't know that score was a thing, really. But
yeah.
Now I do. There you go.
When you grew up in the 50s like me, you'll know that kind of thing.
Yeah. Entertaining and educational.
Yeah.
That's us.
This podcast has everything.
I would say that, like, on the topic of informing, here's a little tidbit that I can't remember who tweeted this, so thank you to whoever tweeted this, but I learned why pound is in the weight and pound is in the currency, the sterling. A, have completely different symbols, and B, why pound abbreviates to LB. Because I believe it was like the Roman libra, which was like a form of measurement. So that got shortened to LB, but then pound became the measurement of weight, and the the pound symbol with the line across it. The line across it means abbreviation, but that I think is like the Roman script for Libra. So it both tie back to the same point. I've done a bad job of explaining that, but it was an interesting thing. I'd never thought about it. But there we go. Now we're the allusionist, which is a good podcast about words. Anyway, let's move on. Lolies.
Boring.
I don't think you weren't on the podcast last week, right? So let's kick off with you. So what have you been up to lately?
I don't know if you've looked at the doc, Matt, but I have a very long list. It's very, very long. Have you looked at the doc? It's very long.
Oh, it is very long. Okay, let's dive in.
I've been to 2 board game cafes, but also have played some games at home since the last time I was on the podcast. So, right, I've played. I'll go through the ones that I'm probably not going to go into too much detail first, and then get into the like more meaty ones in the later part.
Yeah. So, give us the appetizer, and then we can get on to the main course.
The appetizer.
Yeah, the appetizer. Just a little mouthful.
Valley of the Vikings, which is a game that we covered on Dicebreaker 4. I believe we did Today We Played when we went to one of the PAXs. Johnny Wills and myself played it. And it's like a kind of a kid's game, which involves you being Vikings, and you've got this bat, and you got to bowl a ball through kegs. And when you knock over different colored kegs, those characters get to move along a pontoon. And when somebody falls off the pontoon, you score points. It's very simple, kind of fun. So that was one of them. I'll just brush over that.
Yeah, I think that was a Kinderspiel des Jahres winner.
Kinderspiel des Jahres.
I remember you playing it at PAX.
Yeah, it was really good.
You say pontoon, not poutine.
Yes.
Okay, well...
Isn't poutine like a food dish?
Yes, it's a Canadian food dish.
I don't
It's
know
a
what
very
a
different thing.
is.
Don't float a poutine in water.
A pontoon is like a long thing of wood that stretches out into water that like boats would like moor on, and
oh, now I know what that is.
Yeah.
Goodness me, I'm learning so much right now. What is this? What is this
educational Dicebreaker podcast?
I know. This is the most educational episode yet. Right, anyway, so that's one. I was trying to brush over that real quick, but that didn't really work. I
You know how
played
this podcast goes.
King of Tokyo, which I haven't played in ages because it's one of those games that like nobody seems to like. But I quite like it. So there's that. And I played Herd Mentality, a big potato game. Obviously, what's the word I'm looking for, Matt? Disclaimer, thank you. I used to work for Big Potato, but I played some Herd Mentality with some friends at Chance Encounters in Bristol. And that was good fun. I actually did like a post on my social media afterwards because there was 4 of us playing and we all obviously had like our own answer sheet. So the whole game is like a question comes up and people answer it, and the whole point is that you're trying to answer it the same as everyone else. And if you are like the only person who answers it differently, you get this like pink cow. And so it's essentially just like writing a lot of answers on a little sheet. And at the end of the game, we realized that like there was like 4 very different styles of writing answers onto a sheet. It went from like left to right. The guy who like numbered each one and had like just really neat handwriting, and each one was numbered, and it was just very neat. The next one was a similar one, very neat, not numbered, but it had like a single cross going through the answers once we'd kind of gone over that. The third one was me, which was in a line, like from top to bottom answered, not numbered or anything. But once we did the answer, I scribbled through it and then did like put it into brackets, just how I do it. And then the final one, which everyone was like, what the hell is wrong with this person? The final one was like, they just wrote the answer like anywhere on the paper, and then like did a crazy scribble when they were done with it. And it was just like, trying to see what the answers were. It was like one answer was right in the middle of the page, and the next answer was above, and then the next answer was like right at the bottom, and it just was a bit manic looking. So that was quite funny when we realized at the end that we are 4 very different personalities.
Yeah, I feel like you like the classic D&D morality thing where it's like lawful good, chaotic.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
When people plot like very mundane things onto that.
Yeah, because it was literally chaotic evil was that last one, and I think like lawful good was like the first one, and we were kind of somewhere in between that. Yeah. So that was fun. I also played Hint there, which I'd never even heard of before. And it's a team game where you one of you has like a little card, and on the other side it will kind of give your teammates like a hint as to what you're doing. So it might say like double Dutch, and then you kind of know that the answers are about Dutch things. So and then there's like a number of answers, and that you're trying to either mime, draw, talk, or hum. Depending on like the topic. So I think the Dutch one was like a mime one. So you had to mime Gouda,
Wow.
like a bunch of Van Gogh, I think was one of them. And then there's like one forbidden answer, which in this case was Rembrandt, which is like ridiculous, really, really stupid. Who's ever going to guess Rembrandt? Especially if you're not like actively miming him. Anyway, so then you get points obviously on how many you get correct after like a minute and a half. But then the other team, once you're done, are able to have a guess at one of the ones that you haven't done on your card. And they get a point if they guess it right, but they lose 2 points if they guess it wrong. And if they get the forbidden answer, they get 2 points. So it's quite interesting little like team game like that. And there was like a wheel in the middle where essentially you choose a card from there, and you can gain bonus points if it's at a certain point on the wheel. And there's a round later on as well where the other team actually chooses the card for you. And there's a space as well, which if the card comes around to that space, and it's your turn, you have to do it. It's like a mandatory space. So like if there's a card that nobody wants to do, eventually it will come to the point where like one of the teams has to do it because it's on the mandatory space. So that's fun. Hint, I have to say, I think it's quite an old game. It's like 2014
I was gonna say,
or
is it like
2016
new
or something. Yeah, it's I think it's like, I remember looking it up on like Board Geek afterwards and being really surprised that it's been around for ages. I just never heard of it. So I played that. Then I played King Domino Duel, which is a 2-player version of King Domino, and it's like a roll and write. That's good.
I think I have played that in the office. Meehan, did we play that? Or did I play it with Wheels or so? Or maybe like you ladies, but because I love King Domino, but it's the roll and write. I just remember being a bit like, yeah.
I found it a bit like a lot because obviously you're dealing. So in this roll and write, you roll dice and they have different crests on them, and then you have to like draw these crests into your like kingdom, and you're trying to connect crests to each other. And sometimes they have royals who live in a certain domain, which are marked by X's. And it was a lot because it was like, I don't know. It's like unlike a number where, you know, like 1, 2, 3, you know, like quinto, for example, where it's just numerical. It just like, it was like quite a lot to try and figure out. Also, essentially you treat them like a dominoes. So there's 4 dice, and the first player, the player who rolled the dice, gets to choose the first one. The second player gets to choose 2, and then the first player gets to choose just takes the last one. And the 2 dice that you take, the crests, you treat them as a domino, and that's how you have to place them onto your sheet. So you have to place them next to each other in some kind of formation. But then also you're trying to place them on the sheet so that they connect to existing crests of the same symbol. So it was like, I think for the first game there was quite a lot to like remember and keep track of. But I did really like it. But I just really like roll and writes in general, so can't really go wrong there.
Yeah, I can't think of, because roll and writes are everywhere nowadays, but I can't think of another roll and write. Like you probably know more than I do, but another one that does like uses the dice as dominoes like that.
No, yeah, I think obviously because it's King Domino, that's why they've done that. I think I don't think I've played another game that works like that, because it was quite lucky actually, because my first few turns I kept forgetting that was a thing, but I just happened to be placing them like dominoes anyway, like beside each other, because I think we were 3 or 4 turns in, and I was like, oh, I've been forgetting that I have to keep them beside each other. I can't just split them up. And I looked at my sheet and I realized I had thankfully done it, so I hadn't cheated. But yeah, if like I just kept forgetting. It was just like, it's so easy to forget. Like, yeah, because usually in roll and writes you can just kind of place things wherever. Yeah, so I played that. That was good. Played Love Letter Infinity Gauntlet, which is a Marvel version of Love Letter. I have to say it's not great.
Wait, let's back up here. Right. So I suspect that the story behind this particular game is you're trying to get an Infinity Gauntlet, right? But I want the story to be you're trying to get the love of Thanos, right? That's what we want it to be, right? You're passing him love letters. It's still called Love Letter.
It is, and it's kind of weird that it is, because it's very far removed from original Love Letter. Like, I've played a bunch of Love Letter, you know, like, versions. Like, I've played the Hobbit one, I've played the Batman one, I've played the Archer one. I think I've played another one as well. And they're usually fairly true to Love Letter. They just change some of the mechanics to kind of work with the theme. In this case, it's almost like an entirely different game, but it's just branded as Love Letter, and it feels very weird because, like, essentially in this version, one of you plays as Thanos and you have your own deck of cards, and the rest of you plays the heroes and you share a deck of cards, and you as heroes are battling against Thanos, and there's health, so there's a card as well that tracks the health between the heroes and Thanos. And as Thanos, you can either win by killing the heroes, by getting their health down to a certain point, or by collecting all of the Infinity Stones and then clicking your finger. And then the heroes can only win by killing Thanos. And it's like quite weird because unlike Love Letter, for example, there's no elimination from the game. So if like I was to guess your card in normal Love Letter, you would be out of the round. if I guess your card, you take a damage, but you're still in the game.
Oh,
And
okay. So the cards, like, they're similar to Love Letter, but like you say, instead of elimination, it's just health. But it's like,
kind of, because
that's weird.
but they're not even that similar. Like, I think the guard card is kind of like, the one is you can guess the person's card. There's another card that lets you like where the highest value or the lowest value is out, which is kind of similar to Love Letter. But other than that, the cards are pretty much different. Like, there's also like power tokens where, because you fight in this, so like the 3 lets you, I think the 3 lets you fight, which is just comparing cards, but you can use a power token to boost yourself. It's just completely different from original Love Letter, and I find it like weird that it just doesn't really fit in with the rest of the kind of like Love Letter versions that they've made, I think. And I don't think it's that great. I have to say I'm quite disappointed by it, because I've enjoyed pretty much every other version.
There's
before.
some vague mechanic connections there.
Very,
like,
very vague.
Compare cards and call out certain cards and stuff. But obviously they wanted the best of both worlds. They wanted that hot Marvel license that everyone's talking about, and they wanted the Love Letter brand, because Love Letter is like a relatively well-known tabletop series, at least comparatively. So they were like, let's smash these two things together and try and make it work. And they could have made it work by going with my idea, which, let's rewrite the narrative here and let's make
alternative
Thanos
universe.
a romantic interest, and like Iron Man.
To be fair,
Captain America.
if you set this, like, not even an alternative universe, but in a like earlier timeline, and the whole point is that you're trying to like get Thanos to fall in love with you, so that he doesn't turn into this crazed like maniac who's trying to destroy the world. Like, if Thanos had found love, maybe he wouldn't have tried to destroy the world. And I think that actually would make sense in the Marvel universe, but they just would have had to set it at an earlier time where Thanos wasn't already Thanos, you know, of the way we know Thanos. But Thanos at a time when he was you know,
young and
open to
love. Possible.
Yeah,
exactly.
Romancing the Infinity Stone. That's the.
Oh, whoa, Matt Jarvis! What a callback. This is my pitch to Marvel. Number 1, stop being cowards about romance and sex and put it in the films, you cowards. And number 2, make this game, remake it, and make Thanos like the person you want to get the love letters to. I'd play it.
Oh, there's a message in chat saying, in the comics, Thanos is doing all of this to impress a woman. So
he is deaf. They took that out of the film because they probably thought it was stupid, and it's a bit stupid because they personify death as a hot woman that he wants. He's basically a simp for this woman who's like, I'm deaf, and he's like, well, what will you like? And then she's like, well, I want you to kill a lot of people because I'm deaf. And then he's like, okay, I'll kill half of the universe for you. Will that be enough? And then presumably she's like, yeah, I'm into it. So then they removed it for the films because they were like, that's kind of stupid. And it is kind of stupid. I like my idea more. I like our idea.
Yeah,
so
I think, Me too.
Yeah.
Nice.
No,
Young teenage Thanos, you know, just wanting to fall in love and start a family or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, I played some other things as well. I played 2 more games. I'll just, we're getting there. We're getting to the end.
We're getting through, yeah.
I played Era, which is also a roll and write kind of thing. It's a roll and build, technically.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, which I love. I love it so much. It's just, again, I love roll and writes, and it's the same kind of cup of tea, but it's like having Lego pieces at the same time. It's just like, oh, it's great. It's roll and write and Lego, and I love it. So, and it's puzzle. Oh, I just love it. I don't even have anything to say about it really, except for that I really like it, and I think it's it doesn't really get the hype it deserves. I think Era should like be more loved in the board game world, but I never hear anyone talking about Era, and it's a really good game.
It's the only reason I know about it is because it was one of the games that we demoed at EGX way back when.
It was one of the first games on the channel, I think.
Yeah.
And I thought, I will say, roll and writes are not really my cup of tea for the most part. They don't really scratch an itch that I have, because I'm not hugely into like games that kind of operate like that, you know, like where you have to find the perfect place to put these results or numbers or whatever. My brain doesn't really work that well with those sort of games, but I was impressed by the kind of concept behind Era and they look more like Mega Bloks pieces. If anyone knows what the hell Mega Bloks is, it's like a budget version of Lego,
more modern version, I think, as well.
Yeah, if your parents couldn't afford to buy you Lego, they bought you Mega Bloks. So that's what Matt Jarvis.
I just feel like shade thrown on Mega Bloks. Mega Bloks are fine. They're just big Lego, right?
Shade, mate. I had Mega Bloks.
I think, didn't they do like Halo Mega Bloks at some point? There were like odd licenses going into Mega Bloks. It's like, here's Mr. Halo. And it's like, this is a brand like generally marketed towards like 7s and under. And it's like, it's weird to put the Warthog and John Halo in like...
Matt, my favorite video game character is Mr. Halo. He's great. Iconic.
His name is John, isn't it? Master Chief. It's like
because that's Master Chief.
I think
could have said Master Chief.
The books is where they reveal that his name is John. And it's like, I'd probably go by Master Chief too.
I will say that there is a really fantastic video. Oh my god, what's that the guy who left Polygon? I can't remember his name.
And David Gilbert.
Yeah, he did a video on how he read every single one of the Halo novels, and there's so many of them.
Yeah, they're not great.
Well, scathing indictment from
I read a couple of them when I was younger, and because I was into Halo, and even then it was like, I didn't really need to know any of this about John Halo.
Rob says Hon J-Lo, I believe. That sounds like a Star Wars character.
That's a Star Wars character.
Lolies, what else did you play? What's the last game?
The last game is, I finally played an Unlock game. And it's a Star Wars one. But I played an Unlock game.
Look at that! It's weird. We were just talking about Star Wars.
I know. It's I have played exit games. That was kind of the only escape room like board game I'd played before, and I really, really love exit games. They're really fun because I was discussing it with a friend of mine. It's just so nice being able to cut and bend and just be quite tactile with it and use your brain at the same time, and I really like that. And Unlock games have never really I'm one of those people who, I'm not like massively excited about apps and games. I'm sure they're fine, but I'm never like, oh my god, I need to try it. Like for me, board games, the whole point of board games really is like that kind of tactile element, cardboardy element. So anyway, I played an Unlock game which is an escape room game that uses an app, and I have to say I was really impressed. Obviously it was a Star Wars theme. I'm not that well versed in Star Wars, so like some of the things that probably just went like over my head, but the puzzles,
big deal, Loli, don't worry.
The puzzles were like pretty, I mean, it was like a kind of the easiest level you can get this, and they were pretty straightforward, and the app was really, really clever the way it did things. Like there was bits where you had to tilt your phone and move it a certain way because you were looking through binoculars, and there was a bit where because it was voice recognition as well, there was one part where it was like, the card that we'd read said like, oh, you need to call your leader for help. And I opened the app, or like we pressed the button on the app, and there was just nothing on the screen. And I was like, oh, help. And then the app reacted to me saying help. And
Whoa!
There was another bit which was even cooler where the card told us that one person was to read like the kind of rules for this task, and then they had to stop talking, and then they had to communicate something to the other player, and only the other player could talk. And so I read out the rules, and then I was like, right, I have to stop talking now because the app will recognize my voice. And so I had to then communicate something that was on like my card to the other person, and they had to look at a different card and like give me the information. But it was really interesting because it was like I knew that the app was gonna know if I spoke. So it was really, really smart, and I have to like I'm really excited to try more Unlock games now, like more Unlock escape room games, and I think I'll be more open-minded to apps in board games in general.
Oh wow! Look, a full character arc there.
I know, that's why I left it to last.
Yeah, I would say like I've played the early Unlocks and I played the Star Wars one as well. And when I played the early ones, I was not that impressed. They came out. I think they came out around the same time as the Exit games, right? It's like they all kind of landed at once. And
true.
like you, I found Exit really kind of impressive with all the physical kind of stuff you needed to do. And I think the Unlock games at the time were quite basic in how they used the app. But
my friend had said he played them at the beginning, and he said that it was fine. But like when I told him about the kind of stuff I was doing, and he was like, "Oh, it sounds like they're really stepped it up."
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it would be interesting if you play any more. I'd be really interested to know whether because I've kind of played those ones and I played the Star Wars ones, but I haven't played many in the middle.
Okay.
But whether they do other things, or whether it's the Star Wars, like it's that Star Wars money letting them, put extra bits in.
Maybe.
Because the first ones were just kind of like put in a code.
Oh really? Oh, okay.
I don't think there were any mini games. There was no voice recognition, anything. It was basically just kind of like a virtual padlock for different rooms. But
yeah, okay, yeah. I think if it was just that, I would have been a bit like,
yeah.
But yeah, as I say, like it was those kind of little things that made it quite special.
I personally can't wait for the Unlock Love Letter Marvel Star Wars crossover. Where you have to like, I don't know, take a nice picture to send to Thanos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
an aubergine
Thanos.
pig. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you have to take a picture of yourself to send to him.
Yeah, of a special area of yourself.
Unlock.
Unlock.
More like undress, am I right?
Whoa, God. And then, I don't know, to make it Star Wars, there's just a gonk droid.
More like a bomb droid.
Oh, God.
Yes, I'm supposed to be parent here. This is me.
Out of control.
I will say welcome to our new Dicebreaker member.
Yes.
Rhyme Story.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Thank you so much.
I hope I said your name properly. But all those games sounded great, Lolies. Thank you for giving us a rundown.
Just a couple of weeks. Knocking them out.
Just me.
Yeah, I mean, I love board games. What can I say?
There's some real chat. There's some real messages going on in the chat at the moment, as you can expect. Some I'm not going to read out.
I will say, because she popped up earlier, hello to Empalo, who friend of the site and contributor, popped up in the chat and said she'd recently bought Wingspan, which I hope you enjoy.
Oh.
It's a good game.
An excellent game, a fine game.
Yeah, some quality eggs in that game.
All
right, Alex Meehan, let's move over to you. What have you been up to, lady?
Well, not nearly as much as Lolies.
Nobody could possibly.
No, it's incredibly impressive. You didn't even mention Calico, right?
Oh, yeah, I played Calico as well, which is a game involving cats and... What's that called when you make blankets? And quilting.
Quilting?
Yes, cats and quilting, which are... It's just the most wholesome theme. It's really beautiful and nice, and I probably would play it again, but it's not necessarily the kind of game I would buy for myself, because I can't see myself getting excited about playing it. Like, if somebody was to offer and say, like, let's play that, I'll be like, okay, but I don't think I would necessarily, like, bring it to the table getting excited, because it's a mind melter. There's, like, it's a very sweet theme, but oh my lord, the game there's a lot going on. But that's nice, also. And I'm glad I finally played it, so...
Yeah, I've seen it like floating around on various websites and.
It's one of those games that I think something else was it Cat Cafe or something came around. I think at a similar time, and I remember before that being like, there wasn't really any good cat themed board games, and then those two kind of came out, and those seemed to be like the good cat themed board games. Like
I love cats as well.
Yeah, I love cats too.
Yeah, there was like you're right, like a burst of, and Cat Lady, which is a game I like very much.
Yeah, I know Cat Lady.
Yeah.
Well, we have to get as many cats as possible, which is
you're just adopting cats and getting them their favorite toys. It's really good. It's got a really good mobile version as well. So.
I had somebody gifted me before Here Kitty Kitty, which is wow, it was just started really raining. Which is a game where you're like essentially a cat collector, but there's like plastic cats in the middle of a lawn, and you are in a house and you're trying to get cats in, lure them into your house. That's the whole theme, is that you're trying to lure as many cats as you can, but you need like to have a certain amount of cat beds and stuff. It's quite cute, but I think I got rid of it because I was like, it's also a bit dumb.
Well, I just feel like that was a tabletop adaptation of my life.
Just luring in cats.
Yeah.
Stood at the door with a plate of fish. It's worth saying, if you're a cat fan, or if you're just a fan of the team, we now have 2 Meet the Pets videos up as part of the Dicebreaker Plus memberships, which you can sign up for.
I cried a little bit watching Wheels' one.
It's very sweet, isn't it?
Like
It's just
Toto is honestly one of the sweetest, purest, most adorable creatures I've ever met, and I've only met him once. So sad that I got to meet him that one time. He's so friendly, and like cats can be a little bit funny with like new people particularly, but Toto is just wants love. That's all he wants. It's love.
Don't we all?
I know. Yeah, unfortunately I don't have any pets here, but my parents have a lot of pets. So maybe
you were listing them off the other day. It's like, oh wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot of animals put under one roof. But
there's a reason why my parents are stressed so often. It's because they basically live in a zoo. So maybe I'll do that when I go and visit next time.
Yeah, well the plan is for everyone to intro their pets at some point. We've got, like I say, you can meet Honey, which is of course Loli's cat, and you can meet Toto and Rosie.
And there's also 2 extra cats in my video because I live with 3 cats now.
Foggy and
and Luna both feature as well.
Yeah. They're beautiful.
So
a cat right now.
They're good.
They are good.
The Dicebreaker seal of approval goes to
cats good. We give a recommendation to cats.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so what I played. So I've not done a huge amount this week. I played some patchwork at Loaded Bar in Brighton.
Speaking of quilting.
Oh, yeah.
Talking of quilting, the ultimate quilting game, really. Yeah, I love that game. I own it. I bought it like quickly after I played it for the first time because I think you can never have too many 2-player games. They're always great to have around. I had a great time playing. I lost playing against someone who'd never played before as well. So, but I'm not that great at that game, but I do enjoy it. I love the premise. I love how straightforward it is, but you can really min-max that game if you want to, but I don't really care for that. I just sort of like going with whatever. So yeah, I played that early this week. Would recommend good old Uwe Rosenberg.
He's my fave.
He is Loli's fave.
Yes, a fave.
Yeah. What a legend. And then I also played, and so did Matt Jarvis. In fact, we played it twice this week, didn't we, Matt Jarvis?
Yeah, we've played a number of hours now.
Yeah, Avatar Legends, the Avatar Legends RPG, which is an officially licensed tabletop role-playing game based on Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, which is on Kickstarter as we speak.
Yeah, I will get onto it in the news section, but it is now the highest funded tabletop RPG ever on Kickstarter, which is it's wild. It's only been up 2 days, I think, as of this point, so it's absolutely exploding. Yeah,
and to be honest, there's a good reason why. Besides, it's Avatar, which is pretty popular. It's also just really good to play. It helps that it's based on Powered by the Apocalypse, which is just a very streamlined system that allows for a lot of storytelling, like a narrative kind of progression. Like whenever you play it, the goal isn't to be, I want to do this specific attack or move or whatever. It's more like I want to do this, and that means that I do this move. Like the story comes first before the kind of specific nitty-gritty mechanics of it. But it just does a really good job of, as someone who is still pretty new to Avatar, like I'm watching through season 3 now of Avatar. I'm still loving it. Like it does such a good job of capturing the kind of world and like feeling of Avatar and how like that works. What do you think, Mr. Jarvis?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think so we played the quick start. We played with, actually it should be up tomorrow as of this recording. So if you're watching live, it should be up tomorrow, all things being well. We played with Simon from Magpie, who was an incredible GM. And very good at showing off that game. But yeah, it was really interesting to see it in motion. We've previously played Root on the channel, which is also from Magpie, also Powered by the Apocalypse. I think Powered by the Apocalypse is probably my favorite RPG system.
It's just really good.
Yeah, it's very satisfying. It's just flexible enough without being shallow. But yeah, I think it like you said, like I think it does a really good job of adapting that universe in a way that feels
it's more than
faithful
just
without being overly complex or kind of a bit like hemming you into like, oh well, you're like an earthbender, a firebender, a waterbender, so you do this one specific thing. It's quite like, okay, you're that, but within that you are you're an icon, you're an idealist, you are like it's less about like, oh, you are this like quote class if you compare it to D&D.
It's
and
not
more like,
it's more than just window dressing. Like the themes are also communicated through the mechanics themselves. So like Matt said, the fact that just because you're a waterbender, for example, that doesn't necessarily mean you fit into a very particular type of person or archetype. Just like in the show, like the whole point is that just because you're from one particular nation doesn't mean that you follow a particular path or you're a particular type of person. And so the playbooks, which Matt mentioned there, the idealist, the icon, the hammer, I think there are several others, they're kind of there to provide a rough foundation of who your character is in terms of, what their background is, what their personality might be like, and what their character arc is, I think most importantly, because there are definitely a lot of elements of the game that are built around like, this is a show, like these are episodes of a show. So, and the idea is that your character is meant to grow over this kind of narrative arc. And there are even mechanics where you mark growth for a specific reason. Whether you've overcome a particular obstacle in your life that's prevented you from doing something, or you've learned a particular lesson, just like in Avatar or Korra, like these characters don't stay the same. They change and learn and as they go. And also there's a very interesting balance system where, depending on what playbook you're using, there'll be two sort of opposite ends of this balance spectrum, because obviously balance is a huge theme in Avatar and Korra. If you lose your balance, if the world loses its balance, then things aren't right. So depending on what playbook you have, for example, I used the idealist. So one side was forgiveness and the other side was action. And the whole concept is you want to try and find a nice middle ground between those things. Because going too far one way, there are actual negative consequences to that. I found that really interesting because there are actual like physical mechanics tied in with that, where people can shift you off your balance one way or another, or you can choose to kind of shift yourself in order to perform certain moves. I thought that was really, again, the mechanics are reflecting the themes of the show and the game and everything. So I thought that's great. I'm really excited to play more, like beyond the quick start rules, which is what we used So we use some of the quick start rules for our playthrough of the channel. I believe the GM was using some newer rules as well, because obviously they're still developing it. You can get the quick start rules right now if you want to give them a go, but obviously they're not set in stone. But I'm looking forward to giving like the full game a go, and obviously there's going to be a physical copy that you can get, as well as digital PDFs. I guess it depends whether you want to show off your RPG book. I mean, the art is obviously based on the show, so that's gorgeous.
Yeah, I'll be particularly interested. I think it's something that a few people have mentioned here and there, how deep they go in the full rulebook in terms of the bending abilities, because it's like Powered by the Apocalypse games in general are they give you like a lot of space to play with inside a certain idea. Like I had a Monster of the Week campaign going for a while, and they give you kind of like an archetype, but you're not really tied down to like a lot of hard and fast things, and you actually gain experience quite quickly and gain new skills that way. But with particularly with like Avatar and Korra, they're like the bending abilities of characters in the show. They are built around like certain styles and certain techniques. So like
and
water
who they
juice
are,
for healing, and
to kind of reflect who they are it's like a reflection of who they are as a person. So like Katara being like a healer, she's someone who's very compassionate, whereas like Toph being like a really strong, like earthbender, and being like, what's the word, like stalwart and able to, her stubbornness like is reflected. And I love the way that at the moment your style of bending is just determined by you. Like you can have it be whatever the hell you want. Like there's not like specific, it's not like D&D spells where you cast a fireball or whatever. Like if you're a firebender, you could just decide, oh, this is kind of how I do my firebending, whether that's like really aggressive or whether it's a bit more delicate. You can kind of just decide that for yourself, and I love that, because you can build that into your character. You're not restricted by you can only do these kind of things.
Yeah, it's like even fighting technique, it's just you write in an adjective basically. It's not like a fixed set of moves. You just write in like, okay, my fighting technique is aggressive or flamboyant or defensive.
Whatever you think best reflects who your character is.
So I think it's really good, and I'm glad that it is not another D&D 5e thing, because that's
so tired.
We've played plenty of D&D on the channel. We've all played D&D a bunch.
D&D is
it's
fine.
Good for some things, but it just doesn't need to power every game under the sun.
Just to come up front, like Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition is a system that works really well. There's a reason why people like it so much, other than the name recognition. Like it definitely serves the purpose, but it is nice to see a name this big be attached to a system that is not Dungeons and Dragons. And Powered by the Apocalypse is so good, and I think it works just really well with this theme and this world. And as someone who's really getting into Avatar at the moment, it's just so exciting to kind of be watching the show and be playing this game at the same time. I'm just funny that I slept on it this long, because it feels like something I would have eaten up as a kid, like absolutely. But there you go. And other than that, I've been playing so just a quick mention, because we talk about other stuff apart from tabletop games here sometimes. I started the Mass Effect remaster over the weekend. So if it's not obvious, I'm a huge fan of Mass Effect.
I can tell.
Yeah, it's my favorite series of all time. Mass Effect 2 is my favorite game of all time. And I started the first game in the series. And they've done, so far, I've only played like 2 hours or something. But they seem to have done a very good job with cleaning up a bit. Just like, obviously, you can still sense the jank there. I mean, it's a game that was made in 2006. That's a long time ago now. And it's a game that kind of doesn't know what its identity is, whether it wants to be a shooter or an RPG. And BioWare, the company that made it, had basically no experience making shooters either. So this was their first attempt at it. So you can tell, and it's during that era where, you know, developers were obsessed with cover shooter systems as well.
Yeah, the cover system in that one is.
And it's unforgiving. That game will kick your butt, even like on normal difficulty. So if you're not working well with those systems, then it can be quite frustrating. But still, it still just instantly captures me, like ensorcels me in its kind of wonderment, like that feeling of, they just really capture this feeling of going into this world and meeting these people, and the world building is incredible. Like there's a reason why there's a massive codex that you could just spend hours reading through. Like this is something that the people cared so much about, this world. And if there's anything that captures me, it's good world building. And that's something that I think the first game in the series really captures, even if it's janky to play sometimes. Like it definitely has that feeling of wonderment, is what I would describe it as. So yeah, I'm really excited to keep playing that. So there you go. That's my week. Matt Jarvis.
Hello, it's me. Yeah, other than Avatar Legends, which obviously I've played a good deal of this week now, because there will be, so to give you a little teaser, there will be 3 episodes that we film for the channel.
3 whole episodes? Oh my god!
Weekly from this Saturday, next Saturday, and the Saturday after that. It's a good little arc. I think it might be maybe it's not the adventure that's in the quick start. I can't remember. I don't think it is. I think it's original.
We're separately playing that adventure that's included in the quick start at the moment with our other campaign.
Yes, with the wonderful Chase Carter GMing. But yeah, other than that, I have played more Descent, which I spoke about last week. So if you want kind of more of my thoughts on that, I won't hang too long on it here. I'm playing that for review. We'll have a review up once I finish the campaign, because I don't want to review it before I finish the campaign, because I think the story is an important part of that game. We last weekend, so for full transparency, we were given access to a pre-release version of the companion app, because Descent Legends of the Dark requires a companion app, which we were using on PC. And over the weekend, we hit a game-breaking bug that forced us. We couldn't finish the scenario.
Oh no! Am I the only one hearing that? Is other people hearing that?
Nope.
Oh, I can't hear you anymore. Okay,
all right.
Carry on.
Well, I'm going to keep going. But it basically forced us to start a new campaign, and I ended up emailing Fantasy Flight, which is the publisher, and they said that will be fixed in the released version of the app. I believe that game is out as of today, August 6th. But like I say, I haven't finished it yet, so we won't have a review live until I finish it, because apparently it's 50 hours long. We've played about it's somewhere in the region of 12. We've played quite a lot of that game, but there's a lot of it to go. But I still really like it. I think the companion app, it's not going to convert anyone who doesn't like companion apps in games. That's just not what it's going to do. But it's a very good companion app driven game. It is very flashy on the tabletop. It's got 3D terrain. The combat or like the main kind of mechanics of it, they're pretty familiar. If you played a dungeon crawler in the last 10 years, you'll be right at home. There's some interesting stuff where you can flip over cards to change like your available weapon sets and abilities and stuff like that. But it's not going to blow you away if you've played a dungeon crawler before. But what I think it is, at least so far, like 12 hours in, like however many missions in, what I think it is just like a very, very well presented, very, very polished dungeon crawler. Like it's the Avengers of dungeon crawlers. Like it's not doing anything new. It is just throwing a lot of money at what it is, making it look very good, making it very flash, like very polished. Whether it's worth so I think in the US it's $170. I think the RRP is, or MSRP.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a lot of money. And that's why I think it's important to get to the end of the campaign to really get a good judge of, okay, exactly what are you getting for that money? Like, I've seen a few reviews go up so far, and I haven't read them because I'm writing my own review, but like, I would be amazed if anyone has finished the campaign in that amount of time. It's 50 hours long, so unless you are absolutely booking it through that campaign, I feel like that is the big question mark over this. I'm really enjoying my time with it. I think it does the companion app really well. It is visually very impressive. It is mechanically very kind of satisfying and engaging. But actually, there are quite a few games that are visually impressive and mechanically satisfying, and they don't cost 150 quid upwards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the big question. And actually, because of the fact we restarted the campaign, there were randomized elements. So we actually sped through the stuff we had played so far. So we sped through the 12 hours, and we did it in about an hour and a half or so, because we weren't having to set up things. We were just doing it on the app to get us through for review purposes. And actually, it was interesting to see the bits that changed. So like events we encountered on the way to missions were entirely different, and the items we ended up with were completely different, even with the same characters. So I think there is actually a good deal of, at least from my experience, a good deal of replayability if you decide to go through that campaign again. Obviously, the main missions will be the same, but even making the same decisions, because we were trying to replicate our own campaign, even making those same decisions, we were encountering different events that were popping up as randomized things. We were getting different items. So I think that was really interesting in terms of, again, just making that money go the distance. So, but I will finish the main campaign, and we will see how much it changes, how much it goes for, like, you know, because it's still a lot of money. That's still like £3 an hour or something. If it's 50 hours. So yeah, but I'm still enjoying it.
I think it's the kind of game that's like, you're meant to play it, you're meant to buy it as a group. Like, you don't buy it on your own. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I mean, it is like a I said this last week. It is like, it's very much an RPG in a box. I think more so than something like Gloomhaven, because Gloomhaven is like mechanically crunchy. Like, it is quite a big investment of time to set it up. This, you build the thing as you go. It's relatively smooth. You know, like, setup time isn't huge, because when you load into into a mission, that's when you build everything. So it's not like Gloomhaven where you're taking 20 minutes to unpack everything. So I think, yeah, you're right. It feels like the kind of game where you want the same group to play each, like, it replaces your D&D night, right? It's like you get together with the same people, you have your kind of characters, you can swap in and out depending on the mission. Some missions require certain characters because they are story events about those characters. But you can swap quite freely among characters. So if you've got a group that is smaller, you can still play all the different characters. You're not stuck with like one character for the whole campaign.
It sounds a bit like, it sounds like if anyone's played Divinity, the series like Divinity, it sounds like a tabletop version of that.
Yeah, it's definitely not as narratively open as Divinity. Like, I think that's the big thing with Divinity, right? It's like you get a lot of freedom in how you approach situations. This generally is like you go into a mission, you've got an objective. There's typically like one or two ways to do that objective. There are some decisions you can make that branch you like different ways down the line, but it's not like you are able to completely throw things off its axis. Like, you can't suddenly like turn on NPCs or anything like that. But I think it is
Divinity is good.
Divinity's great, yeah. Like,
it is great, but it's got a lot of problems in my opinion. It's very unforgiving. It's very poorly balanced, I think, in terms of difficulty. But I do enjoy it. Like, it is good. As long as you're not going to get really frustrated with that, I would recommend it.
Yeah.
Also, we played about 120 hours, and we're still not finished.
It's a big game.
It's a big game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So other than Avatar and Descent, those are the only kind of board games I've been playing. Outside of that, I've been playing the new Ace Attorney, which I think I mentioned last week. But this week, I had forgotten that there is Sherlock Holmes in that game, but Sherlock Holmes is called Herlock Sholmes, and it's really dumb, and they just stick with it.
That's so good.
And also, he's like a bumbling. It's kind of fun, the approach they take on it, because he like, his destination is correct, so his deduction is always like on the money, at least so far. Like, I'm not hugely into this into the game, like a couple of cases, and I won't discuss any spoilers, but his deduction is correct, but the way he gets there is kind of completely all over the place. So one of the mechanics in that game is like you having to be like, look, you're right, but actually this is the reason you're right, which is quite like a funny thing to add into those games where, like, for those who don't know, it's a spin-off of the Phoenix Wright games where you are essentially a lawyer battling court cases, so you're having to present evidence and to make arguments. But here it's like, okay, the detective has already figured out what the answer is, but you're having to kind of like work backwards from the answer to actually work out why he's correct. It's good fun. Like, the writing is fun in it. It looks great. Like, it's a good one of those. Like, I am a fan of that series, but they've been a bit all over the place at points. Yeah, it's great.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's about it from me. Shall we move on to a bit of news?
Yeah.
Some of this we've already covered. So, like I said, I think the kind of big headline this week is that Avatar RPG, which we've discussed kind of at length before now, is now the most funded tabletop RPG on Kickstarter. So I think it was at over 3 million the last time I looked. It's only been going like 2 or 3 days. I'm just going to get the latest figure. But it's got like a while to run. Yeah, so
we love numbers here at Number Breakers.
It's on $2.9 million.
Wow.
But it's got 27 days left to run. It's on almost 25,000 backers, which huge.
That's what?
I will say that to get a physical copy, I do think you have to like pledge, is it 100 quid or something?
I don't know actually.
Because obviously, like, there's
$50, so about £36 for the core book.
Okay.
Hardcover.
Okay, so maybe I was thinking about the stretch goal one, but yeah, no, like, I mean, I don't think any of us weren't expecting it to do well. Like, again, they seem to have marketed it a lot, which is great. Like, they've made people very aware of it from very early on, so they've not just sprung it onto Kickstarter and been like, hey, you can find it somehow. They've been very clever with the marketing campaign, and it's Avatar. Like, you know, Avatar is very popular. It's still popular enough that it's getting this live action series that nobody wants. You know, it was popular enough to get that awful film that nobody liked. So, you know, there's a big reason why yeah, it's mega popular. So
yeah, but I think the particularly interesting as well. So the game's unseated on its way to the top. It overtook the One Ring, the second edition of the One Ring, which is the Lord of the Rings RPG, which I think was funded earlier this year. So this is within a year. We've kind of seen the 2 biggest standalone tabletop RPG Kickstarters. So I think, like, more than anything, it's just like a good indication of how hot tabletop RPGs are right now. And so the One Ring second edition was the highest funded like standalone game. So, but it was not as highly funded as Strongholds and Followers, which was a D&D 5e supplement, which was just a little bit ahead of it, but it's not a standalone game. It's, as it sounds, it's a supplement for D&D 5e. But Avatar has overtaken both of them. And I think there's something really interesting in the fact that it's not a D&D 5e thing, because D&D is, you know, it's the thing that everyone is always on about. Like, it's the thing that attracts all the attention. And actually now, the biggest tabletop RPG on Kickstarter isn't even connected to D&D in any way. So yeah, hopefully there's a, you know, the success of this kind of like trickles down to smaller creators who don't have massive licenses, but are making games that are powered by the apocalypse or based on entirely different systems. You know, I think one of the things that people always chat about with tabletop RPGs is people play D&D and they know D&D, but how many people actually go from that to discover like indie creators or indie games or new systems outside of that? It can be a big hurdle, like if you don't know where to start. But there's hopefully that's the thing that this causes is more kind of trickle down to other creators as well.
Yeah, the license makes it accessible. That's but it would be good to see this as like a tipping off point for more, you know, successful Kickstarters that aren't Dungeons and Dragons. So now my worry is we're gonna start seeing D&D stuff on Kickstarter, like official stuff. That's something I do not want to happen. It's when like big publishers like Wizard of the Coast start using Kickstarter I just do not want that.
No, Hasbro, which owns Wizards of the Coast, did their own. Was it Hasbro Pulse? Is the name of it? They have their own like crowdfunding thing because they
don't need crowdfunding. I
the idea
refuse
that
to
Quest
accept.
is crowdfunded is weird, but
it's so odd to me that it's just greed. I think, to be honest, I really think it is just corporate. You don't need that to be crowdfunded. Like, you're a huge company. Like, Kickstarter is, to me, designed to provide like smaller publishers with like something to kind of prop them up and do these kind of things, like because of the sheer production costs. But like larger companies like Hasbro have no experience, have no excuse doing that. To me, like, it is just
I agree.
Yeah, it's just financial.
Disgusting.
Like it's the lack of financial risk, and like they know it'll do well, so like of course they'll do it because like they'll make their money and they will get it out directly to people. And another reason is that they then don't have to pay like distributors a lot of the time or retailers because they just go direct to consumers and they take the full cut, which is, like you say, it's money into the pockets of big companies that already have plenty of money a lot of the time.
Down with that sort of thing. What other news have we got?
What other news indeed? Well, the other one I pulled, speaking of smaller indie RPG creators, so there is an award called the Diana Jones Award, which I think quite a few folks probably won't be familiar with. It's kind of like a smallish, like, I guess, cult award in some ways. It's been running for a number of years, but it kind of flies under the radar, and it's very much it's a bit of a loosey-goosey kind of, it doesn't have a fixed, it's not like it just awards games or it awards designers. They call it the Diana Jones Award for Excellence in Gaming. So sometimes the nominations are individuals. So I think Eric Lang is a former winner, the designer of like Blood Rage and Ankh and stuff like that. Sometimes it is games. So I believe, gosh, I hope I'm not misremembering, but I believe Harlem Unbound by Chris Spivey
you're right.
won. It was at least nominated. So again, and sometimes it can be concepts. So a few years ago, Actual Play was nominated for kind of like how it had brought people into tabletop RPGs with things like Critical Role. So it's a very curious award. It is named, if anyone is wondering who Diana Jones is, they don't exist. So the award is a Perspex pyramid that has the last copy of the Indiana Jones RPG, which was a kind of infamous failure back in the 80s, I think. And it's a burned copy, and it is a scrap that just says Diana Jones from Indiana Jones. And that is why it's named after that. I believe it was published by TSR, the former publisher of D&D, but it was like a massive flop.
That's very odd. That's very.
What's happening right now? Am I having a fever dream?
Yeah, it's like I say, it's a very cult award. But I think the thing that is good about that Diana Jones Award is that it goes beyond. Like I say, there are board game awards like the Spiel des Jahres, like there are RPG awards like the Ennies. This is kind of more of a broader award for the hobby as a whole.
Yeah.
So again, it kind of picks out things that might go completely missed in.
Yeah, they rarely give it to like a big, like the Spiel des Jahres. Usually, you expect it to go to a game from a big publisher that's relatively well-known publisher. Whereas I feel like this award is deliberately designed to go to, like you said, people or creators or ideas that aren't mega well-known.
Yeah, and they've leaned even more into that because they've actually launched a kind of spin-off program, which they're calling the Diana Jones Emerging Designer Program. So this runs kind of alongside the main Diana Jones Award, and I believe it's the first time this year that they've given it out. And it is very much, as it sounds, it's aimed at like creators or designers who are up and coming. Like, like I think when Eric Lang was nominated for the Diana Jones, even though the Diana Jones itself is like a cult award, Eric Lang, a very familiar name, like, real kind of superstar of the board game industry. So this is like a way of, again, just recognizing and acknowledging folks that don't already have that kind of like cachet within the hobby. And all of this is to say that this year it went to Jion Shim, who we've covered a few times on the site. Kind of probably most familiar from Field Guide to Memory, I think is the name of the RPG.
Yeah.
I'm just scanning through Chase's story on the website.
Yeah,
now.
I covered that game when it was on Kickstarter. Yeah, the
Yeah.
very interesting journaling game where you're kind of following in the footsteps of this person who was kind of literally collecting like information on living species, and you're kind of following in their footsteps. So it did sound interesting.
Yeah. And like, I think Gion has kind of been at the forefront of the recent kind of like journaling RPG trend. Worth saying that she co-created Field Guide to Memory with Xingyin Core as well, but it was Gion who won the Diana Jones Emerging Designer Program. So yeah, it was just wanted to point it out as like kind of like an interesting award that's kind of recognizing again, just up and coming talent, like kind of similar to like I was chatting about D&D, right? Like as tabletop RPGs get bigger and bigger, that sometimes means that there's like almost like a separation of like, well, D&D connected stuff like is always going to be huge, but there are so many like interesting creators and games and systems and ideas in the hobby that so many people like just don't have the opportunity to discover, or just simply don't know about, like in order to discover them. So yeah, like this is kind of a nice, or at least I think it's kind of a nice way of highlighting some of that work. So I would recommend folks go and check out Field Guide to Memory, because I think like
I don't know how easy it is to get at the moment.
Yeah, it was on Kickstarter, right? But
physical Kickstarter.
There's a PDF version either coming or already available.
I think there was one available. I imagine that's probably going to be the easiest way to get it. But like the full physical one, I'm not 100% sure how. Hopefully with this, they might make it easier to, they might produce some more copies because of, obviously getting some more coverage, some more kind of recognition means that hopefully you'll get more people getting your stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. I'll just like to very quickly add, there is a news piece on the website today that went up today. I just wanted to shout it out about a free LARP that you can download based on Among Us, and it's called Among Us, and it's made by Atlas, the co-founder of Atlas actually. And I just wanted to say you can literally download it for free. It seems to be quite a lot of work has gone into it. It sounds really fun if you like Among Us and you like social deduction games. So just wanted to mention that. You can read the news story on the website right now.
Nice. Yeah, go check it out. We've got a few other things on the website as well, which I'll whiz through before we move on. But Sophie Gravel, who you probably don't know by name, but will know by influence, like very influential board game veteran, headed up Z-Man Games a few years back. Kind of oversaw the launch of the second edition of Pandemic, which is probably the one you played, and Pandemic Legacy. Founded Plan B Games, which published Century Spice Road and, more importantly, Azul. Previously, like back in 2002, founded Philosophia, which is like a major board game company, I believe, based out of Canada, which then bought Z-Man. Basically, she's a huge name kind of in the hobby space, but she is now back at Z-Man. The maker of Pandemic and Carcassonne and now Love Letter. She has rejoined as studio head after basically taking 4 years out. So she's come full circle after going off, launching a very successful publisher again, and is now back in the driving seat of Z-Man. But it's just a very interesting thing because Z-Man, we've discussed a few times over the past few months, is moving away from kind of like its classic games, just straight up announced that it's not doing its Euro Classics line anymore.
Yeah.
And is focusing on Pandemic, Carcassonne, Love Letter, and I think Citadels, which is kind of a weird one because I don't necessarily feel it's on the same level as those other ones. But it'll be very interesting to see what Sophie Gravel brings back to the studio as head of it.
I hope they actually produce some entirely new games and don't just milk the same series over and over again.
Because they've announced that World of Warcraft Pandemic, which, hey, maybe World of Warcraft not the best brand right now to be adapting, but like we'll see. Like I liked Pandemic Legacy Season 0, so hopefully they at least do interesting stuff.
And just saying, there are a lot of Pandemic games out there at the moment.
There are many.
They're like, I want to see something new, but money, I guess.
Yeah. Also in the news, there's a new James Bond board game, which is kind of interesting because the only James Bond board game in recent memory was a deck builder that was just legendary deck builder. Or legendary James Bond deck builder, whatever.
Yeah.
Legendary does a load of deck builders, Marvel, Alien. But yeah, it's called Spectre. You are the members of Spectre, which is the big evil organization led by Blofeld. Yeah, it's out next year, I believe, from Modiphius, and it's basically you are the baddies and you are trying to be bad and get to the number 1 spot. Which is kind of a fun premise for a game.
Yeah,
but
it kind of sounds like Villainous, really, but
it very much does. Yeah.
And I like Villainous very much. I think it's actually I think it's pretty good considering. So maybe it would be good, but that front cover is just wooey.
It's just Blofeld, which is particularly odd because like Christoph Waltz, we were discussing this the other day, like with Chase as well. Christoph Waltz is currently the Blofeld on screen, which I believe the new James Bond film is like a continuation, right? So, it's kind of an odd one to jump back to. Oh gosh, I forget his name, unfortunately. The original Blofeld, but we'll see. They're clearly playing towards the nostalgic, like, hey, remember From Russia with Love? Like, remember Rosa Klebb and her like knife-tipped shoes? You can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I would say there are quite a few iconic villains in the series. Like, if you've watched enough of the films, so
just like
I guess that's kind of fun. Yeah, well, Oddjob is more of a
minion or a henchman,
more of a hench person than a villain, but. No, it could be good.
Yeah, it's worth saying James Bond is in there, but he's just kind of like, he almost sounds like a fly that you just kind of bat away for a bit. Like he travels around and blocks spots, but he can't actually win or stop you. So he's just more of like a bit of a pest. You just shoo away.
To deal with James Bond, all you have to do is just like put him on a boat towards a luxury resort, like make all the booze on that resort like free basically, and then I don't know, make sure there are a lot of hot young singles on the resort, and then you got it sorted. He's not gonna leave. Like that's his ideal situation, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a bit of news. Also on the website, Meehan spoke to Griffin McElroy and Jen Ellis and Keith Baker about the new Adventure Zone board game.
You didn't invite me.
It was an email interview.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm sorry.
Should go and check that out. Reed Conley has written about some replacements for classic board games. So if you're looking to swap out like Monopoly and Cluedo and Scrabble, there's a whole list of some recommendations, which are very good. And there's, of course, like all the daily news from Meehan and Chase and me and many other contributors. So go and check out the website. Let's move on to this week's weekly segment or weekly game, which we don't have a name for. Does someone want to?
Yes, we do.
Do we?
It's the board game Thesaurus game. It's the board game Thesaurus game. There you go. That's a jingle.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It works, yeah. I've just written Thesaurus game in caps, but I was like, that's a bad name, but like, we're rolling with it now.
It's the board game Thesaurus game. Board game Thesaurus game.
Lolies, would you like to explain, as the official singer of the national anthem for the board game Thesaurus game?
National anthem. We're in a nation now.
Would you like to explain how this game is played?
Yes, I mean, it's very much what it says on the tin. Essentially, what we've all done is we've chosen some games, we've put the names of those games through a thesaurus, and we will then tell each other some of these thesaurified game names, and it's up to the rest of the people to try and guess what the original name was. So it's funny because I think I suggested this a few weeks ago during a meeting, and we tried at the time and it did not work. But we have full confidence that it's going to work on the podcast.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. Yeah.
This is Thesaurus Name Game 2. I don't know, Second Strike. Yeah, the Thesaurus thing.
I think I've made some, and I think you'll get these, and I think they'll work very well. I have done a lot. I didn't know how many we're supposed to do, so I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh God, I've done 3.
Okay.
That was
I've
just
done
as a
a bit
backup
more
in
than
case anyone else
3,
picked them.
but
Okay,
Okay.
how about
I'm
then
the medium.
I start, then it goes me, and then it goes Matt. How about that?
Okay, yeah, let's go with it, and we'll see how this goes.
Okay. My first name is Full Accelerated.
Okay.
Fully accelerated.
Full. F-O-A-L. Full Accelerated.
Oh, full accelerated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Accelerated.
Horse speed. Horse racing.
Horse
Camel
speed
up.
Racing.
Horse speed would have actually probably been a better version of what
Horse
I've
speed.
thesaurified, yeah.
Is it Camelot?
No.
Oh.
Camels aren't horses.
Foal?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's
It's a thesaurus.
The
I'm not
thesaurus
just
could go-
willy-nilly making up words, Matt.
There's something that there's a horse involved.
Well, it's funny because I actually never knew what this word meant. And there's not really any horses in the game. So I don't know why it's called that. But I kind of do.
FOAL, right?
Yeah.
Accelerated.
Ponyland. Pony power.
No.
I don't know what these games are. None of these games exist.
What's the bike game that I now can't think of?
It's wrong.
Okay.
No matter what.
Wrong.
How about downforce?
No.
Horsepower.
You're right with the no. No. I'll tell you, this is a really you know this game. This is like a very mainstream.
Wait,
but actually I have a big clue.
Okay.
But I'm just gonna wait a minute because Matt seems to think that he's.
Well, I don't like. So I was going to say Colt Express, but Express doesn't. Really, Express goes to accelerate.
Accelerated,
no,
yeah.
But Colt is like.
Colt was, yeah.
It's a male horse,
Different
apparently.
horse.
Yeah.
The foal is like a young horse.
I know, but I should have said Horse Express or Horse Accelerated, but
Horse Express would be a good name for.
Horse wasn't one of the things that came up. It just foal was one of the
odd.
words that came up for some reason. I don't know. So that's
Foal
you got
accelerate.
That's a point to Matt. I'm gonna keep scoring.
All right.
Oh no.
That's. Yeah.
Matt's looking confused.
I'm not sure about that, but you know.
Okay.
That's the thesaurus. I'll take it up with big thesaurus. Like
yeah.
Oh.
All right.
It's Meehan next.
Oh, we're doing them one. Okay, we're doing them one
Yeah.
each. I wasn't sure what the
Yeah.
Lolies was doing. Okay. Your first one is called Plasma Fury.
Plasma Fury. Blood Rage?
Yep.
Ah.
We were talking about it earlier.
That's annoying. I don't think I would have gotten that one.
Well done, Matt.
I'm next, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've only got 3, so we'll see how this goes. Okay. Deception Estate.
I'm so bad at this game.
Yeah.
My brain doesn't work well with these things. Deception estate, you said.
Deception Estate, yes.
So I'm guessing like the estate is maybe based on it's something
Lies house.
Lie house.
Try not to look at chat because I feel like they might give me the answer.
Yeah, I feel like they're
I've just got
they're
the doc
giving
over
away
it.
some answers. Deception estate. Like I don't know.
Deception
Let's
is
see
like
if
a
anyone's
lie.
got it.
Is what else? What's another word for deception?
Treachery.
I'm not very good at
Betrayal?
words. Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Not quite. You're in the right ballpark, though.
Betrayal
Betrayal
House.
Legacy.
Betrayal Legacy, specifically, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Apparently,
Like an
Legacy
estate
goes to
is a
estate,
legacy,
yeah.
right? I got you. Yeah,
Right,
betrayal
I would-
legacy.
Lolies, give yourself a half point because you basically got there with that.
Nah.
The only reason I didn't do Betrayal at House on the Hill is I figured it would be so many words. You'd just be like, well, what other game has so many words in the title?
Yeah,
Nah, that's Meehan's
as soon as
point.
You say on the like, okay, I'm really not that bothered.
All right, Lolies.
Okay,
you're back.
back to
Loli.
me. I'm gonna go for one that I don't think is very good. But, that's why I'm gonna put it now, so that we can get to the good ones later. Mishmash.
Mishmash. Wait, is this one word or two?
One word.
One word. Okay.
Mishmash is, I suppose, one word. Yeah.
Mishmash.
Patchwork.
Yes.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah.
Wow. Well
Yeah.
played.
Thank you. And also to Meehan. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Meehan, you're up.
Okay. This one might be a bit obvious, but Buccaneers of the Hyperborean Surf.
What? I don't know half of the
Buccaneers
words.
of the Hyperborean Surf.
What's a Hyperborean?
Hyperborean. I mean, it must be pirates of something, right?
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
But what?
Pirates of the Seven Seas. Pirates at the High Seas. Pirates of the High Sea.
Of the Buccaneers.
Is pirates correct?
No, I'll tell you
okay.
that much.
Buccaneers,
Pirates is not
maybe
correct.
thieves? No. At the the Hyperborean Surf.
I'm thinking something about seas.
Remember,
Surf
I
has
put
gotta
all
be
these
sea
words
running, right?
separately through Thesaurus.
Yeah.
So
Surf, wave. It's something of the something.
I'll tell you that Lolies is correct in the last word.
Seas.
Sewer of the High Seas. I don't know. What's...
Hyperborean.
Oh, I can't think of anything that's set in the...
Like, what does Buccaneers go to other than pirates? Thieves of the...
Thieves of the Seven Seas. That's a great name for a board game, though.
The chat have guessed it. Don't look at the chat.
Oh,
The chat
I'm
have
not
guessed
looking.
it.
I've got my hand over it.
Yeah.
Seas.
Focus
This
on the
is
first word. Focus on the first
Buccaneers.
word.
Is
I
thieves
can't think of
correct?
anything other than pirates.
No.
Pirates isn't correct.
No.
Traitors.
I literally don't know what a buccaneer is other than... Wait, hold on. No, don't got it.
Buccaneers. Wait, rogues? Is it like rogue? Okay.
Is it cowboys?
No.
I'll
give you another clue. It's part of a trilogy of games.
Oh, Raiders of the North Sea.
There you go.
I would never have got that. I have not. I don't even know that game. What even is that? Right. I've got 0 points at the moment.
It's a fairly well-known game, right, Matt? Like, it's fairly popular. Like, it's not like I've chosen really obscure ones.
All right. Next up, appendage space.
Got
legs.
Arms race. Wait, what was the
No,
space?
no, but that's pretty good. Yeah, space. Appendage space.
Leg galaxy.
I keep thinking galaxy as well.
Yeah.
Head galaxy. Torso galaxy.
Oh my God,
arm galaxy.
This?
I would say it's not space like outer space.
Okay.
Okay.
Blank.
What else could it
Head
be?
blank.
See, I was worried this would be too
Leg
easy,
blank.
but actually now that I read it out, I'm like, oh yeah, like without the context of knowing what the answer is, it probably is very hard.
I think I just saw the answer in chat. Did somebody just say it in chat?
I don't know.
Hand box.
I won't say it because I think that might be the answer.
Yeah, there is a correct answer in that.
Okay, yeah, I think I saw it. I won't say it.
Appendage space.
I would never have got this.
Give me more clues, Matt. Help me.
It's not humanoid.
Not humanoid.
It's not a humanoid appendage.
Yeah.
Oh. What?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I think that's not acceptable.
A pincer.
A pincer? Why you go to a pincer?
I don't know. A fin box. Give me more, man. I need more. We'll be here all day.
Okay, the original board game was one word, but I separated it into 2 words.
Yeah.
What? It's naughty.
Yeah, that's really naughty.
That's really naughty, Matt Jarvis.
No, it was.
One word.
So it's an
it wasn't in the
appendage-
rules, but we never
it's a
wrote down any rules.
Non-human appendage, and then space, not outer space, and
space
it's
is
one
like
word.
A measurement.
A measurement, yeah.
Oh my what? Wavelength? No.
There's no
Mm,
appendage
no.
there.
Yeah, I don't
You're
know.
starting with
I
the
was
correct
just
letter, though.
guessing.
Starting with the correct letter.
You're like strangely in the ballpark.
Okay, it begins with W. People are screaming this at me right now. I can tell. What games begin with W?
What's the first one you can think of that starts with W that isn't wavelength?
God, my brain's gone dead.
That involves a non-humanoid appendage.
Oh,
It's tough. I don't think I would have ever gotten this.
How about
genuinely...
feathered stretch as a
Wingspan?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
That was really tricky.
That's naughty, Matt Jarvis. I'm not happy with that one. I don't even think if I deserved the clue because I got so more. I deserved the point because I got so many clues. So do we want to do a point for that one? I don't care either way.
No, I'm not going to give you a point for that.
Okay.
I would have given you at least half a point, but it's fine.
Kobe Morris says Monopoly. Wait.
I'm going to give you... I think this is probably the easiest. Well, there's two easy ones. I'll give you this one first. It's one of the easier ones. Heptamad phenomenons.
Heptamad.
Heptamad phenomenons. Plural.
I'm going to focus on phenomenon because I don't know what heptamad. Wait, hepta is 5, right?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
Hepta.
That's penta.
Oh, someone just spoiled it for me in the chat. Okay.
Yeah, don't look at chat.
Oh
Somebody's
no!
I'm just
Wait,
gonna
does
say-
that just me?
I'm just going to move my tab off chat so I don't.
Oh
so that
no!
doesn't happen to me.
Heptamad phenomenons.
Now looking at that, I'm like, okay, yeah.
Prolific in chat got it straight away. Knew exactly what was happening.
Because they knew what.
Tell
It
me
is
someone
number.
yeah,
It is a
someone out
number.
there.
But
It
it's
is
not
a number.
5.
Yeah, I just got it wrong.
Don't be
Hepta.
silly.
5 is penta. I forgot. 5 is
Yeah.
penta.
So
Hepta
hex
is
is
different.
6, sept is 7. Is hepta 8?
Phenomenons.
Phenomenons. Like all I can think of. Oh, 8 wishes. 8. No, that doesn't. No, 3.
That famous game. What?
8
We have a
wishes.
game called 3 Wishes, but I don't know why I jumped up to 8.
This is like again, I've only gone with like fairly mainstream games.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I've
This
not-
is a game that we've all played.
Oh no!
We've all played this game.
That makes it
several
worse
times.
that I can't.
I feel like
work it
most
out.
people in the board game world have played this game.
We've not played this together.
No.
7 Wonders.
Yeah.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
I was close to getting that in terms of like
Yeah.
I got the right number. I was thinking on the right lines. But...
That's good. Whoever got that quick.
Yeah,
in
well
the chat,
done.
Well done. Yeah.
Prolific, yeah, straight away.
Done.
All right.
You,
Meehan,
yeah,
have you
no,
got
do
more?
guess. I just need to
Yeah.
not look at the chat. I'm just okay. Yeah, I've got more. My next one is Annals of Misconduct.
I don't know. I'm so bad at
Annals.
words.
Books
This
of
is not my
something.
first
bad at this.
language.
Annals of misbehavior. I don't know. Annals of misconduct.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say Mansions of Madness, but I don't.
Diaries
think
of
that's-
Mischief.
I'd play that.
Oh God.
Annals.
I think did I just see the answer? Did somebody say the answer in chat?
You should close down chat.
I know. I usually have my hand over it, but I forgot, and my eyes
Annals
went there.
of mischief. Mischief.
Meehan, did somebody
naughty-
say it in chat? Because I think I might have
Naughty
seen it.
books.
Is
yeah.
that- yeah. Okay.
Oh,
I keep ruining it.
wait.
No, look at chat. Just turn
So
the
much
tab
pressure
off.
just on me.
I know.
Annals. Wait, is that years?
Nope.
Is it records?
You're on the right line.
Yeah. Records of
Okay, I'll
the
start giving
mischief
you
is a
clues.
hard one. Like
It's a fairly recent-ish game. That it's had several spin-offs.
mm, so wait, it's recent, but it's had spin-offs.
Yep, fairly
Oh.
recent. I said fairly recent.
Okay, it's not villainous. Wouldn't make sense because that's
I
one.
wouldn't call it a classic.
Okay, so it's recent. It's had spin-offs. You wouldn't call it a classic, despite the fact that it's
it's got
popular enough to have spin-offs.
Yeah.
No. I'm trying to spell it out in my head. That's what I mean.
It's got spin-off. It had a spin-off that came out this year. It's got more spin-offs coming, like a series of spin-offs.
A series of spin-offs.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, this will really give it away. The spin-offs are set in different time periods.
Oh, is it Chronicles of Crime?
There you go. I don't know if you should get a point for that.
No.
Right, we're not looking at chat anymore.
No.
No more looking at chat.
I mean, Matt, have you got any more clues?
Yeah, I've got one more.
Okay, I'll look away from chat.
All right. Computerized ruffian.
Computerized ruffian. Robot.
This is a game we've all played. For what's worth.
A game we all play. Computerized ruffian.
What's a ruffian? That's the question, I suppose.
Yeah. That's another word for ruffian.
AI rascal.
Oh god. We've all played. Have we played this together?
I've played it with both of you. You have not played it with each other.
Okay, so I played it with both of you. Computerized ruffian.
What have I played? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Screen Bandit.
Screen Bandit, no, but that's a good name for a. I feel like that's a good name for a board game.
Does robots have anything to do with it, Matt Jarvis?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Robot Wars. We never played Robot Wars.
Robots. I'd love to play that. Okay, so robots have something to do with it.
Robot Rascals.
No.
No, I'm trying to think what games I've played with Matt Jarvis that have robots to do with it.
Yeah, me too. I don't know.
We need more, Matt. We need more. Give us more.
It's an RPG.
These are the feelings. What?
It's Cyberpunk.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's me next. Okay.
Yeah,
you get a point for that.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, you do. Okay. Next one from me. This is super easy.
Okay.
The Gang.
The Crew.
Gang. Oh,
Yes, The Crew. There you go.
That was quite easy.
Yeah. I've got two more, I think, and they're quite hard. Two more, and they're quite hard. So
Yeah, I'm not going to do this one because I think no one's going to get it.
All
I
right.
might try it with Matt Jarvis later. I don't think Lolies will get it because I don't think you've heard of that one. So I'll do these ones instead. The next one is Contemporary Craft.
Modern art.
Modern Art. Damn! I was about to say it. No. That was my only chance. That was my only chance. Okay.
Lolies, hit us.
Okay. Right. Marathon toward the star system.
What?
Marathon.
Race for the Galaxy.
Yeah. It was marathon toward the star system.
Okay. Race to the Galaxy, yeah. Okay. My next one is Absent Metropolises.
Lost Cities.
Yeah,
God.
Jarvis got it. On a roll! On a roll he is! Look at that!
How many more have you each got?
I've got one more.
Yeah, Loli's got one more and I've got another one which might be really difficult.
Okay, let's whiz through them and then we'll maybe do like a question or two.
Okay. Next one is
Lolies, I absolutely love the fact that every time you're like, the next one is
No,
like just snickering to yourself. Yeah.
Well, this one is ridiculous. It's really, really stupid. Miracle Heroes, the cardboard recreation.
Marvel Champions, the card game.
Yeah. You would snicker too if that was yours.
Okay, here's my last one. This might either be really obvious or like not at all, but Despots of the Bottom Gloomy.
What?
I will say the last word has
Parents
been...
of the Underdark.
There you go. Matt Jarvis got it.
Oh god. Right. Okay. So the final score on that was Matt on 8,
yeah,
me on 5, and me on 0.
Oh,
in fairness, like Lolies, you had more than anyone else, so we had more chances to score.
Yeah,
than
it's
you.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
But also, I think Meehan and I had the same amount. So I also had equal opportunity, I think.
Matt Jarvis just absolutely killing that.
Yeah.
What a legend.
What a ledge.
Yes, that's the
What a
one.
ledge.
This is your game.
This is your game, Matt Jarvis.
And yeah, I couldn't get the crew quick enough because I was just like, the gang. All right.
And you can tell everybody that this is your game.
All right,
it's the Thesaurus game. This is Matt's game.
Thank you to Elton John.
Yeah. Cheers, Big E.
Cheers, El.
All right, let's take a couple of quick emails from the audience. If you've got a question, if you're watching live, hey, drop it in the chat. Like maybe we probably won't have time to answer it this week, but we'll answer it in a future week. Or you can email us at podcast@dicebreaker.com or drop us a tweet at @joindicebreaker. Go ahead.
Just
let us
do
know.
it.
It doesn't need to be about board
Cowards.
games if you want. You can ask us anything.
You cowards, email.
Ask us for advice. You cowards. We're right here ready to help you. What are you afraid of? Advice? Anyway. Lolies, would you like to read this one from Jacob, please?
Oh, would I ever? Since summer is coming to an end soon, this might be too late. But do you plan on doing any garden games like cub, lawn darts, ladder golf, etc.?
I don't know what any of that is.
Oh, cub is a fantastic. It's a Scandinavian wooden game, which involves you. There's like these. So you play on two teams, and there's a king in the middle, and you've got sticks on your side and sticks on their side, and then you have a wooden stick which you throw, and you're trying to knock down their wooden sticks, and then eventually knock down the king, and it's very good, and it's a really nice like outdoorsy like having a picnic. We're gonna play some cub kind of game. Yeah,
well, the way the weather's going at the moment, I don't see myself playing many lawn games.
Yeah, I didn't have a garden, but I do. We did a few weeks ago. I think I spoke about this on the podcast. We saw some friends at a distance and played crokinole, which we set up on top of a wooden crate that we have. And it's not technically a garden game, but I think it works just fine outside as long as it's not raining. But I haven't played. I pulled this mainly because like garden games aren't something that I think about a lot of the time.
No.
So if you do have recommendations for them, I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, I do. I would love to play more because I think the idea of them sounds very fun as an excuse to just sit out, like just go outside, have like a drink, and then mess about with, like a big wooden stick or something. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I played bowls. I played bowls a little bit, but I guess that's the closest thing to a game. But yeah, we'd like to play more. Maybe send your recommendations. Maybe next year we can do a big summer blowout. With lawn games.
Yeah, we should have like a summer party that we stream or something. I don't know. Or make a VOD or vlog or whatever you call them. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like a working video or something.
But yeah, I would like to play more lawn games. I feel like I just always end up playing like other board games but outside. It's like, I'll play Hive, like, but it's not quite the same. But yeah, any recommendations, stick them in the chat or email us. Meehan, would you like to read this one from Amnestus, please?
Yes, I can do that. Amnestus says, once again, much love to all of you. Congratulations on pronouncing my name correctly. They did provide a very helpful little...
No, I added that because we previously had them email in. On a past podcast.
I thought they put that in. As fans of the Warhammer properties, brackets praise the Emperor, Matt and Wills, what are your feelings about these new policies that Games Workshop has put out, pretty much indicating zero tolerance for fan creations using their setting or lore? I think everyone understands that they are mostly legally within their right, but what about the ethics of this and the fan anger? Is it justified? How do you see this affecting the future of Warhammer? Well, Games Workshop aren't in the best of places in terms of PR at the moment, as it is.
I should say, I pulled this one when Wills was on this podcast, but Wills is very busy editing something, so I left it in and forgot. But thank you for your question. We can all chip in anyway. But I think generally, like Games Workshop, it's funny, they seem to claw back some respect because they were kind of in the bad books for a long time as a company, particularly among the community, and then they seem to like get back on top of it for a while, and now it's just I don't like. Yes, I'm sure legally they're well within their right to stop people using their stuff, but the idea of, I think the particular passage that's being referred to is something like, even if you create fan art of a character, like Games Workshop like owns it or has, and that I think is just like so deeply like wrong and kind of like anti like creativity, anti kind of like just if people aren't using your direct art and your like trademarks and copyrights, like just let people enjoy the stuff they enjoy. Like they're engaging with your like products, your creations, like, but they are making that their own. Like I just feel like it's such an abhorrent thing to do, to try and claim ownership over other people's creations, other people's artwork, even if they are inspired by your own work. There is a very different kind of line between like another board game publisher putting out something that is, you know, Warhammer in all but name, and like that happens plenty anyway. But I feel like that's very different to fans who are enjoying something, who are engaging with it, often on like a personal level or an emotional level, and trying to shut down that is just like the worst kind of capitalism. Like you can't have this emotional connection to something because we're gonna either take it from you for money or just stop you doing it under threat of whatever it may be. I just think it's a really bad move. But hey, Games Workshop allegedly not great across the board, let's say, in terms of how they treat people who like their games both internally and externally, allegedly.
Really? They're not treating their employees great and not treating their fans very well. I mean, this kind of stuff happens like everywhere. Like obviously I don't have much experience with Warhammer and Games Workshop stuff because I'm not really someone who engages with that sort of thing myself. But the idea of them taking fan art and like fan created stuff and kind of legally claiming it or stopping people from creating it, that's basically like you're basically ruining your own fan base in terms of where people do this when they care about what you make. Like this is a sign of people loving your world and loving the characters in it, and what you're doing is essentially you're chopping it off at the root. Like what could grow into something wonderful. For what what monetary gain are you getting out of it? Like what are you actually getting out of what are you losing? Like honestly, it's whenever companies do this, it's baffling to me that it's the same thing with like fan fiction or whatever. Like if people are writing fan fiction about your property, like it shows that they love what you're doing, they want more of it, but they're just, you know, adding their own sort of twist and spin to things. It really is it's not like they're taking your ideas and selling them. Like there is really no point to it.
I think Lolies? That is
agreed.
Oh, sorry.
I think it's like so many things, right? It's like if it's not actively harmful to others, so like it's not like people are producing harmful content with this stuff. In fact, it's, you know, it's beneficial to others. It just lets them enjoy it. It's not detracting from Games Workshop's bottom line in any way. Like they're not going to lose like thousands of dollars in profits or something like that. Like that's what's so baffling is it's just pure like malicious capitalism of like.
It's like Nintendo. It's like Nintendo sticking, you know, like going after all those YouTube creators for making videos about their games. Like, what are you gaining from this? Like, you're literally silencing your own community. It's just so baffling why certain companies will just do this and they won't realize that they're actually having a negative effect on their own like success. It's just so odd. Anyway.
All right. First of all, hello to Jonathan Stewart, who just joined us as another Dicebreaker Plus member. Welcome. Let's very quickly finish off with this one from Baron Breakfast, because we're running a little long, but it popped up in the chat. My gaming group have just started playing Pandemic Legacy Season 1 again after pausing for the real pandemic. That's fair enough. What Legacy game would you recommend we play next?
Betrayal Legacy.
Gloomhaven.
What a Legacy game.
It's kind of like a Legacy game.
It's kind of like a Legacy game, yeah.
Hey, I would recommend, if you enjoy Pandemic Legacy Season 1, play Pandemic Legacy Season 2 and then 0, because I think they are all good in their own ways, but I also like Gloomhaven and Betrayal Legacy. So
yeah, Betrayal Legacy improves on the original game, and it's a legacy game. So
yeah,
or there you go, do it.
Yeah, and Gloomhaven is just Gloomhaven.
Do it.
Gloomhaven will keep busy for a very long time, but it's also very good. So, all right, I think that is all the time and all the questions we have for this week. Thank you again for your questions. Thank you for joining us in the chat. Thank you, Alex Lolies, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, your theme tune for the Board Game Thesaurus game. Thank you, Alex Meehan, for being here.
Down with capitalism.
I've been Matt Jarvis. Thank you for listening. You've been listening. We'll be back next Friday live from 2 p.m. BST. You can also catch this on places like iTunes and Spotify if you're not subscribed already. Find us on dicebreaker.com, youtube.com/dicebreaker. But until we return next Friday with another Dicebreaker podcast, thank you for listening. Stay safe out there and have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.